Figured I need to, I guess, uh, welcome back wherever you guys are listening to this podcast, YouTube land, Entrepreneur Support Group. We help support entrepreneurs, and the topic is leadership. So we've been going through the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. John Maxwell. Um, we left off on law of connection was the last one. The next one, which is number 11, still haven't figured out that numbering thing. So 11, 12. Law of inner circle. And he talks about some questions that you should ask yourself when you're building your inner circle. I'm not even going to try the quote but a quote just came in my head from somebody, but I don't know it verbatim. But a question you should ask is who they are, their character, their attitude, and their value, like their value excellence, like as far as like I guess their stock value, as far as how valuable they would be to your company or to your organization and what you're doing. Another question is what do they do? What's their expertise? You don't want to bring somebody who does the same thing as you do, right? That's not really going to help you build. And the next one is how do they lighten the load? So is this somebody that you're just bringing on, but it's an extra responsibility, or is this somebody who can help share the responsibility so that way we can continue to build? Um, Continues by saying, after your inner circle, then you can begin to develop your outer circle, which are those people who can help you broaden your horizon. So like,
Okay, hold on. Pause on that before we go
yeah,
to outer circle. Let's talk on inner circle. Because as
right,
you're
right, right.
saying this, I'm thinking number one, those things also apply to life. That's not just business. Because we need to take that. And if we get used to doing that in our lives, like outside of work and outside of business, it'll be easier to do in business because we'll already be well practiced at bringing the right people into our life. Because you, in the same way, you want people who add to your life, who bring value to your life, not who come in and take and have
Mm.
nothing to give. But the other thing I think about when you're saying that is, and I heard this a long time ago, and I don't know who said it first, where it originated from, but association breeds assimilation. So whatever you're hanging around, whatever you're around most of the time, you eventually become. So that's where those character pieces and like what kind of person are they come in, like the people that you're bringing around, you may not be like them initially, but if you're spending all of your time around them, you are going to become like them. So you need to make sure that they match where you are, who you want to be, who you want your business to be. All of those things need to align in order to keep you from going astray. Or if you want to
And
be better, bring in those people who will cause you to rise up.
yeah, and one thing that came to mind, I mean to cut you off, but it's like even even just attributes as far as the way that they think and the forward
Mm-hmm.
thinkingness. So it might not be an actual skill set, but it might be just a perception
Yeah.
that they bring to the table. And that perception thing is crazy. It's like having shades on and then somebody takes them off, or having prescription glasses, being blind and then having not blind, but but yeah, law of inner circle. And I've really been thinking about that too. Like when we were talking about the organizational structure and building your team of people
Mm-hmm.
around you, like you don't want to just put and you don't want to just put pawns around you, like people who can just do this thing. Like I just
Uh-oh.
need somebody to complete this work. Like, yeah, you might get the work done, but like, is that really going to lighten your load? Because now you got to walk them through every little thing, and then it's like, how are you becoming better as a leader? Because now it's not like they can challenge you. It's not like you know, it's not like they're helping you build.
Yeah.
They're going to be boosting your ego because you're like, oh, I know more than them and I can teach them things. But is that really going to help your organization and help you as a leader?
No, you definitely need independent thinkers and allow like people who are creative and allow them to be that. So as you teach them the way you need things done for your business, they can kind of take that and expand on it and make it better.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, and this is one that I've really been investing a lot of time into because of this. He says, if you invest in your inner circle, it will bring you the greatest return. So like developing the team around
Mhm.
you. like not just finding those like-minded people, but creating an environment where you all are developing and
Mhm.
growing together, and that everybody's not just staying the same. And I thought that, I mean, that's the like that's the bottom line of leadership, right? Is to bring the others around you up. But
Oh yeah.
like tangibly, how do you go about doing that, right? Let's say basketball, I'm a shooter. All I can do is shoot. But I got somebody who's a great dunker and slasher. It's like, how can you go about uh raising his level of play? How can you, if you're obviously the CEO of your organization, how can you build up your administrative team? Because there's things and nuances that they know about the business that you might not be as keen on. So how can you develop them while also not limiting them
Mhm.
because of maybe your ignorance in that area? Like that's a skill set in itself. Hmm.
Definitely a lot of pieces to leadership that people underestimate.
Yeah, yeah. Because I give a personal example. The person who does like my websites and funnels, like
Mhm.
email marketing and things like that, he knows how to do all that. I'm not. I'm knowledgeable about how to do it, but what's going to take me 10, 12 hours will take him 2 to 4 hours. So it's like how can you develop him to continue to increase his skill set, to continue to increase his knowledge, to continue to increase his forward thinkingness, right? To be able to be proactive instead of reactive, while also not, because you don't, because I don't know what really goes into that skill set, and yeah.
I think you have to take it away from like leadership doesn't require us to know all of the intricate details about everything. We simply have to guide. And so, in order to teach somebody in that situation, you don't have to know his skill set. You have to teach him what you want your business results to be from that position, and then supply him with resources that helps him become better at what he does and still fulfilling your vision for that piece of the business, so that he's staying within your values and within your mission and all of those things. So you're kind of developing the person in him and giving him the resources to develop that business side. So whether it's investing in professional development or connecting him with other people who might be further ahead than he is, so that they can chat and work on the skill set portion of it. You don't have to know all of those pieces. You've just got to give them the guidance to stay on track with where you need them to be and grow with the business and your vision for the business growth, but then develop their skill set within that, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
Yeah, keep them locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep them locked in.
Because we're
Mm.
never going to know all of the pieces of we all have different skill sets. So we're not going to know all of the like little minor details that go into somebody else's job.
Hmm. I think it was John Wooden. John Wooden was famous for doing that, developing his team and continuing to, because I mean, I don't even know if John Wooden played. Did John Wooden play?
I have
Random.
no idea. But let's go more current with that for all of our people watching the NBA playoffs right now. God, look at what Spoelstra has done with the Heat.
Mm,
I mean, this is one of the few
mm,
teams in the league that does not have a supporting cast of multiple superstars. I mean, their whole culture has taken people who were undrafted or, just essentially role players, even if they were drafted, and look at the development. I mean, yeah, they had the LeBron team down there with all of those guys, but outside of that, I mean, God, look at what they're doing in the playoffs. And how many people could actually name four guys on their roster?
mm. Honestly, unless you're a basketball head.
And I mean, even some basketball heads probably until recently haven't been paying attention to what they're doing because they didn't have an impressive season. They barely made it into the playoffs, but then he's taken these guys like these aren't you're playing against guys who are established and whose names like mean something in the league, and you're destroying them. Like that's definitely a more current development piece. Like, I mean, just
Hmm.
look at Udonis Haslam in that system. I mean, undrafted, local, and has played with the same team for what, 20
Mhm.
years, something like that.
Same with the way Spoelstra. And I think that even goes even higher in the leadership with Pat Riley because Pat Riley's
Boy,
always been known to be a gym rat and be in the lab. I mean, Spoelstra
yes.
started off as a video guy to get into the coaching role. So it's like, and again, it's like developing that inner circle, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if Pat Riley doesn't develop Spoelstra or doesn't develop, I mean, he was a coach initially, but doesn't develop his staff thereafter,
Yeah.
develop his video guys, it's like it really is a snowball effect.
Yeah, he
Mm,
definitely sets that tone. I'm trying to find so it's the when we didn't do the Zoom last week and I put the Simon Sinek video on there, the TED Talk. This is the quote I keep thinking about. There are leaders and those who lead. Leaders hold a position of power and authority, but those who lead inspire us.
mm, mm,
And so that's essentially what we have to do with that inner circle is inspire them to grow and to seek out things that make them better.
mhm. One thing that came to mind too, even with the character thing, is like you have to be humble enough to realize that you might develop somebody and they might outgrow you. Like not
Mhm.
outgrow you, but I mean essentially they
But
might
yes.
outgrow you and leave your organization. They might outgrow you and maybe become better, a
Yeah.
better fit in the organization than you are. And you have to be humble enough and aware enough to be able to handle that situation. You know?
And especially as a boss, you can't let that keep you from not developing people because you don't want to lose them. Because let's say you do develop somebody, they outgrow you and they move on, you can't look at that as a slight against you. That is now a new opportunity for you to take somebody else and
Mm-hmm.
develop them and continue that active development.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we need to go to outer circle now?
He actually didn't mention a lot about the outer circle. He just mentioned because like outside of, I mean, same thing like you talked about in life, outside of your inner circle, if you don't have that solid inner circle, it's going to be hard for you to reach out
Mhm.
to bring more people,
Mhm.
into your circle in general. Uh, so he just mentioned that briefly, but unless you want to expound upon that, because I do think that that's the more now I'm thinking about it, I think that that's pretty important. It's like how can you grow as an organization if you don't even got your team right? How can you take on more and go get more and build more and grow more and scale more? Your team's not ready to even take on more. Hmm.
We can equate that to, I mean, your inner circle, they're the people that you go to when when things are good and things are bad. They're the people you rely on to get you through all of the stuff to help you walk that path, and then you've got that outer circle who they're the people that you hang out with every once in a while. They're really great to be around. You keep that connection, or like in a business sense, that network of people that you reach out to every now and then and just chat with and touch base with, because those are the people, that outer circle, they're the people that you pull into your inner circle when there needs to be an inner circle change, or they're the
Mm-hmm.
people that help you connect with somebody else in the outer circle that helps your business and inner circle as a whole grow. If it's just you and your inner circle, you're very isolated. You're on an island by yourself trying to exist in a world with all of these other people. But those outer circle people can be valuable pieces because they can add to your growth. They're just
Mm-hmm.
not that consistent every day. Like they're not who you're going to call if your business goes to shit really fast. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to kind of like call them up if you need something from them maybe, or just to check and see how they're doing, but it's your inner circle who's going to be there like through good, through bad, through all those
Mm-hmm.
pieces. But I mean, you got to have that outside world to help keep growth on progress. And
Mm-hmm. That was good. It was really good. He actually continues to talk about his inner circle with his next law number 12. He talks about law of empowerment. Um, Only secure leaders give power to others. So you're talking about equipping people, equipping your team. He says and now that I'm reviewing it, I'm like getting epiphanies like crazy. But as far as like things that I'm doing in my business, but how to equip people, he says the first step is I do it.
Hmm.
The second step is I do it and you are with me. So I show you the mistakes,
Hmm.
and I use the secrets that make that use the secrets that I use to do that job well. And then the next one is you do it and I'm with you. When you get them, when you get them, you help them. Like if they get stuck, you help them get it right. Then the next step is you do it, and then you hand the power and
Hmm.
responsibility over to them. And then the last step is you encourage the people you equip to help equip others.
Hmm.
So he talks about that tiered step to delegating tasks. And then when he talks about the insecurity part, some of the barriers to empowering your team is the, like we talked about, the fear of job security, that
Hmm.
you're going to work yourself out of a job, the resistance to change, um, and the last one, lack of self worth. So kind of the ego thing, your ego's kind of getting in the way. Thoughts on all of that? How to equip people and the barriers to empowerment.
I had a thought for a second and it has completely flown out of, out of my head. I was thinking about something as you were talking and now crap.
I like I do like the part the like the steps in equipping your team because it's like I'll speak for myself. I won't put all entrepreneurs in this bucket. We're driving so fast and you're like, get in the car, like you building your team, get in the car.
Yeah.
All right, this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna do it. All right, there you go. And then when they make a mistake, it's like, ah, dang, like maybe I shouldn't have hired this person. Like, did I make a mistake? And it's like, no, like they're more than capable. You made a right hire,
Mm.
but did you follow those correct steps to hand off the power? Did you do it? Did you show them how to? So, like using, you talk about using tools and using resources, right? One of the things that I use, that's why I love Zoom and this recording feature, because what I do all the time to avoid the meetings, the unnecessary things, I will screen record and show them exactly what I'm
Hmm.
looking to do.
Yeah.
Hey, on the website, like I see this right here, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know how you're going to fix it, but I'm just showing you so I don't have to write it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like equipping your people, even if they're in another skill set. How coaches use film for their players. They can't go on the court and actually show them,
Hmm.
right? But they can show them on film, like, hey, when you do this, hey, you see the result of that. Okay, now, that's what practice comes in. You do it and I'm with you, right? And you hand it off to them come game time. Um,
You going back to those steps maybe recapture my thought too, because this one you went off of the steps that I lost it. But I like his approach because it also takes into account, I don't know whether this was a conscious or subconscious thing as he was thinking about these and creating them, but it takes into account different learning styles. Because some people learn better by watching, some people learn better by doing. And so it kind of incorporates all of those. You watch and you do. And so whichever of those categories you fall into, you still are able to learn it the way that is most comfortable for you, but then you also actually still have to do it. So you still have to practice that skill set because I hate the first day of new jobs when somebody's throwing a ton of information at you. And I'm like, I'm not going to remember this until I get in there and get my hands dirty. Like, it means nothing to me
mm-hmm,
because it's me getting in there. You can keep telling me this and you can give me all of this paperwork that tells me how to do this, but until I get in and do it,
mm-hmm,
it's not gonna resonate with me. Whereas somebody else might look at that and be like, oh, okay, yes, I get this. And so it kind of gives different ways to do that so that everybody's finding a piece that works for them and everybody's able to kind of digest more.
mm-hmm. And it helps you as a leader to really understand the job more. I know when I was delegating some,
Mhm.
when I was when I was onboarding administrative staff, she was asking me how to do some things, and then there's some things that I just do right. I might just have a natural knack at it, and she's asking me how to do it, and it's like, oh wait, I never even thought about the system or process behind doing
Mhm.
this. So it's also like it's a learning experience both
Yeah.
ways, right? Because as they're doing it, they're going to find out different ways and more. more efficient ways to do the task that you're asking them to do. So um, I think those insecurity. I'm gonna have to go reread the barriers to empowerment thing because I do think like the resistance to change part. I think that's the one that really stuck out to me because like if you're as a leader, you're used to it being done a certain type of way, and if somebody finds a more efficient way to do it, are you
Uh-huh.
gonna be nah? This is how we do it here. Like this, and again, you got to put your ego to the side and really look at it objectively. Like, hey, is this the most efficient way to do this? Should we change it? Because sometimes, people always throw out their opinions and things like that, and it might not be the most effective um, for the organization. So you got to kind of play that line, like, okay, is this something that's going to help us build, help us grow? Okay, let's go ahead and change it. Let's go ahead and develop and move on.
So you said you had to reread those. So I went and I grabbed the book and I pulled them up. So the desire for job security part, he like the first sentence, he says the greatest enemy of empowerment is the fear of losing what we have. And so that's what we were talking about with like, you know, if a leader or if somebody we're developing outgrows us and moves somewhere else, and like if we're afraid to empower to obviously potentially create that situation and change where we currently are because we're afraid of what happens when that changes, then that's
Mm-hmm.
going to limit us because the whole like nothing, the only constant is change. I mean, business is going to grow or not, but the world outside you is going to grow, so you have to continue to grow with it, whether that's, your skill set or your staff constantly changing. It's
Your
yeah,
priorities in the business might change. You might have a life move where it's like, I actually don't want to work 12-hour days anymore.
yeah,
I'm actually cool on that, right? Like that's gonna shift how things are done.
yeah. And I mean, the
Mm,
other thing we have to keep in mind too as leaders, if we are building the culture that people want to stay in simply because they might outgrow their position or where they are, doesn't always mean they want to leave.
mm,
The grass isn't always greener. Okay, you could go and get this job over here and make more money and have a better title because now your skill set deserves that, but their culture might not be great. You might
mhm,
be expected to work 80 hours a week, or you might not, like they're, or they might just be a completely demeaning staff. Like you don't, it's, you develop them with the hope that they stay and you create a culture that they don't want to leave.
mhm. That's a bar. That's a bar. That's a fact. Yeah. Mm,
All right, and let's see the whole self-worth thing. It says self-conscious people. Okay, well, his Murphy's 12th law states you can't lead a cavalry charge if you think you look funny on a horse. That's actually kind of funny.
mm,
Because you're so busy thinking about what you look like on the horse to actually lead the charge. And so he
well,
says self-conscious people are rarely good leaders. They focus on themselves, worrying how they look, what others think, and whether they are liked. You can't give power to others because they feel that they have no power themselves. And you
mm,
can't give what you don't have. Only secure leaders are able to give themselves away.
mm, mm,
So it's that whole pouring from an empty cup thing, but a very different perspective of it. Typically, we think about that as just like running out of gas and having nothing left to give. But this is the personality side of it. If you are insecure and don't believe in yourself and your capabilities in that position, how could you teach somebody else to be?
mm. Good. Got me thinking and reflecting. We'll go ahead and end it there. We'll pick back up next week with law of pitchers and the law of buy-in. Oh wow. Pitchers being leaders must lead by example. Ooh, I need to refresh because it feels like it's been so long. So I definitely got to refresh and reread this because again, that's why I love these calls because it really uh, it helps me it's like that check-in
Yeah.
with your prescription, right? Are you do you have that leadership lens on? Because
Mhm.
it's often that you just fall into a rut, not necessarily a bad rut, but just a routine of just doing, and it's good to take a step back and really look at what you're doing, and am I doing it from a in a leadership way? Am I doing it in a way where I'm working myself out of a job and I'm developing my team, or am I doing it a way because I just as entrepreneurs again we just hustling, we just trying to get to it,
Or because it's become a habit.
right? Yeah, that's just what we know, right?
Yep.
Mm.
And just out of curiosity, for the law of the picture, what number do you have that as?
Oh yeah, because you got the book right there. Okay, okay, okay. I have it as 13.
Yes, you got it.
Oh, so
So
what?
you
I'm
are
trying
on
to remember
track.
where I went wrong. I don't even know. Oh, I didn't number. Yeah, I don't know. Hmm, yeah.
Yeah, it is 13. So we're good. We're not missing
I'm,
one.
I'm the guy on the horse that's trying to figure out if he looks goofy or not while he's riding. That's why. That's why I didn't get the number.
Please, you're just the guy on the horse who can't count how many other horses there are. That's not
Wait, how many people ride with us? Yo, we. Well, until next time, AP, I'm gonna hit you in the next like 2 or 3 minutes.
all righty.
All right, peace.
See ya.